Hey, it's Scott again, and yep, once again, a coach in a car talking coaching or something like that. So this is probably the 7th or 8th or whatever video I've done today while driving back to Georgia. And as I said the last time, now I don't know if it's the last time for you, but the last one that I just did, I said, I've had a lot of ideas that have been in my head since I've been presenting up in Montana and Wyoming this past week, and so I have a long ride back to Georgia, so that's where these are all coming to you from. But today I want to talk to you about a concept that all my years of coaching, and then also definitely as an athletic director, was put front and center to me, and that's the idea of playing versus coaching. I can't tell you how many times I had parents or community members or former players or whoever tell me, you should hire so-and-so. You should hire so-and-so to coach whatever sport. He played in college. He played at whatever school. Or she was a, all-conference player at her school in college and that kind of thing. And I'd be like, oh, that's good, okay. And it was always interesting to me. In my mind, my first thought was, okay, that's nice. But quite honestly, playing and coaching are two very different things. And while there is a connection of the sport and knowing how to play the sport and the ability to do so, that's about where the connection ends. Players have to be able to follow the standards and the rules and be able to work together and do all the things that we as coaches are trying to instill in them. But just because they can play doesn't mean they do all those things. And just because they are good physically at playing doesn't mean it's going to translate to coaching. Think about the number of players you've known in your life who were really good athletically at playing the game and either A, would not be good coaches, or B, weren't good coaches when they went on and did it. Now, that's not to say that you guys and gals who have played and played at a high level can't be good coaches. I don't mean that at all. Please understand. What I'm saying is the two things are very different. Coaching is about leadership. Coaching is about developing others. Coaching is about, there's a big word, others, as opposed to playing is about you. And again, I don't mean you have to be you're being selfish as a player, but your ability to play starts with you. Your ability to coach needs to start with others in your mind. And when we talk about playing versus coaching, there are so many more things that a coach needs to consider and know than a player ever has to. And so, how well do you know your game? How well do you know all aspects of your game? But even that is, in some ways, almost minuscule to how well can you convey it to others. That's the key in coaching. I was a very, very average player in high school. I didn't play in college. So my ability to compete against another really good player, it wouldn't be anywhere near their level. But I had to learn how to do all of it. I had to work hard to build my skill levels up to get them to where they were. And I'm not saying the really good players don't, but some of them, it does come quite more naturally. And so they often don't have to go through what the rest of us go through. And so it's hard for them to relate to us then when they're coaching them. For a lot of them, it just came, they did what was asked of them, and boom, they play while they were playing and they had their success. But to transfer that to, okay, now I have to help others do the same is a lot of times very difficult. And so my point is not that you really good players can't be good coaches. In fact, many of you are. But please, let's all understand the two elements are not the same thing. your ability to be a good player is not the same as your ability to be a good coach. Make sure that if you are somebody who played at a high level, don't fall into the trap to think, I've got this figured out because I could play the game. I loved having coaches on my staff who had played, because they could offer insights to the game and to the nuances to players, that I couldn't, or that I knew but coming from me would not come off the same. But so that's a real helpful thing. But if you're going to coach, okay, you have to recognize it's about a whole lot more than how well you played the game. You got a lot of learning to do, a lot of a learning curve to go through to get to a point where what you do know about the game can translate and transfer to the kids that you're coaching. And let's face it, what you know about the game as a player is minimal compared to what coaches need to know. So you're going to have to open yourself up. Think about a football player who played. He played defensive back and had success, and he went on and played in college and maybe in the pros. Okay, he knows defensive back. He's got to learn a whole lot more about this game if he's going to coach it and coach, anything other than just defensive backs. So anyway, just one example. But this is a topic that I think is a great one, because I hear people talk all the time about so-and-so, oh, you got to hire that person because they were a good player. Not necessarily. Yeah, I didn't even get into how well do they deal with kids, how willing are they to work at all the other aspects of coaching. There is so much to this that we need to unpack. I probably needed a whole lot more than 7 minutes, which is what this is about to get to. So anyway, scroll down, leave me a message, tell me what you think, and we'll talk to you next time.